Yeah. Good morning, students.
You want to hear them?
My slide. Good morning, students. Welcome to this lesson. Today we're going to be treating a very interesting topic under grammar. Well, I hope you had a great night and a great morning too. We're going to be starting on our lesson right now. For starters, you wouldn't need to write because we'll be doing a lot of exercises, a lot of activities. So I enjoin you to be prepared, get a pen and a book, a notebook. I'm sure you have one already, and if you don't, please get one now. And your English textbook, your new concept English textbook for secondary school, senior secondary school, group 2. So we are starting our lesson now. Today, like I said, we'll be treating an interesting topic, which we start now. If you look at the images displayed on the screen, you may find them funny and amusing, but I would like you to examine them and tell me, what do you see? What is the difference? What is interesting about these pictures? Now, don't look at them for amusement's sake, because they relate to our topic for today. So what do you see? What do you notice about these pictures? Well, if you look closely at these pictures, you will notice a lot of transformation. Yes. In the first picture, we see someone, a male, putting on a skirt, who is, in the first picture, is quite big, very fat. Someone can refer to as fat and heavy. While in the second picture, the after, you will see this person is now better, is looking fit and healthy. Well, let's go to the second picture. Now we see a heavier set of male now. A heavier male is fatter, is huge, and is very big. But, we see another huge transformation here. We see another huge transformation here in the second picture, where this same person is now slimmer, is fatter, and even has packs, which some boys may find appealing. Well, that is what we are going to be talking about today: transformation and creation. Today we shall be talking about nominalization. Some sharp and intelligent students may have guessed as much. Today we shall be talking about nominalization. But before we start, I would like us to get our objectives right. What should you aim at the end of this lesson? At the end of this lesson, you should be able to define the term nominalization. You should be able to define the term nominalization. Also, as a student, you should be able to explain the term suffixation. 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 While thirdly, we should be able to nominalize the verbs and adjectives into nouns. We should be able to nominalize verbs and adjectives, meaning turn them into nouns. So let's go into today's topics. What is nominalization? As you look on your screen, we'll see the definition right there. Nominalization refers to the creation of nouns from verbs or adjectives. Nominalization refers to the creation of nouns from verbs or adjectives. Now, what do we mean by this? Nominalization actually refers to the process of turning a word from other parts of speech and now making it a noun, irrespective of the part of speech it comes from. Most of the time, nouns are created from other parts of speech through the use of suffixes. Let's recall the picture we saw earlier. I'm sure if you had looked at those pictures closely, the heavy set of men, there are some things they cannot do, but the slimmer and healthier men, they look better. There are some things they can function. They can function in most game activities. I'm sure if you see one of these heavy set of men in the Olympics on the track, you will laugh yourself out. So also we'll be looking at how we can transform, just like these men transform themselves into healthier humans. We're going to look at how we can transform some parts of speech and make them function as nouns, even though they are not nouns originally. Now, in other case, like I said earlier, most of the time, nouns are created from other parts of speech through the use of suffixes. Other times, the words remain the same. That means it is not all the time that we use suffixes. But there are other times where these words remain the same. How do they remain the same? We shall see as we continue. In this case, it is called conversion or zero derivation. It is called conversion or zero derivation. Let's go to the next. Now, what are suffixes? You may have a vague idea. You may have an idea about it. Suffixes are certain groupings of letters that can be attached to the end of words to change their meaning. Suffixes are groups of words groups of letters that can be attached to the end of words to change their meaning. Most verbs and adjectives that become nouns are changed using suffixes. This process is called suffixation. I'll go again. Suffixation is the process of attaching a letter or groups of letters to the end of a word to change their meaning. We'll see more examples. Many times we use this in our everyday speech when we change the use of a word to another use by the addition of one suffix or another. Now we shall now go on to nominalization of verbs into nouns. We start with verbs. There are certain patterns that we follow to decide which suffix is needed in order to create a noun from a verb. There are patterns we need to follow. There are rules that need to guide us. Now, let's look at gerunds. The most straightforward way of turning a verb into a noun is through the use of gerunds. These are made by adding the suffix ing to the end of the verb. For example, we know that the normal word walk is a verb. Walk is a verb. But when we now want to make it into a noun, when we now nominalize it, it becomes what? Walking. How did we get to walking? By adding the suffix ing to the end of the word walk. An example is given on the screen. Walking is very pleasant. Walking is very pleasant. We have nominalized the verb walk to walking. The second example is there on the screen. My sleeping has been disrupted lately. My sleeping has been disrupted lately. Now, what is the verb there that actually is supposed to be there? It's supposed to be sleep. But now we have nominalized this verb sleep and turned it into a noun by adding the suffix ing, which makes it sleeping, and it has turned to a noun. My sleeping has been disrupted lately. The third example there, listen, listen. But it has been nominalized also to become a noun. The sentence there reads, listening is an important aspect of my relationship. Listening is an important aspect of my relationship. The verb there, listen, has been nominalized to be a noun by the addition of the ing gendered. I hope that is quite clear. Now, let's go to the nominalization of words by agencies. When we turn a verb into a noun to represent someone or something who is an agent of that action or who performs the action in a professional capacity, we typically use the suffix or er, or just the simply or by simply adding r there. Example: my fiance is an actor. My fiance is an actor. Now, who is an actor? Someone who acts. So the verb there, as we can infer from this sentence, is the word act. But because there's someone performing the action of acting, it becomes what? Actor. How did you get actor? By simply adding the suffix or. The second example: I'm training to be a teacher. I'm training to be a teacher. Now, from this sentence, we can infer what the verb was before from the word teacher. Who is a teacher? Someone who teaches. Someone who teaches. The third example: the writer is well known. The writer is well known. Who is a writer? Someone who writes. So how did we arrive at these nouns? By adding er, or, or simply adding r. In the case of adding r, you note in the last sentence that there's already an e there. So we simply added what? The r there. Let's go forward now. Now, nouns of recipient. For verbs that become nouns to represent someone who is the recipient of an action, we often use the suffix double e. We'll understand it as I explain further. Example: the employee is disputing the wages. Who is an employee? Someone whom others employ. How did you arrive at the word employee? From the verb employ. From the verb employ. We now added what? The suffix double e. Let's go to the second example. The bank must approve you as the payee. The bank must approve you as the payee. Who is the payee? Someone who is paid. Someone who is paid. There is one more interviewee waiting to be seen. There's one more interviewee waiting to be seen. Now, who is an interviewee? If you look at these words, I highlighted them, I made them bold, making you understand that what they are the nouns that are recipients of an action. And how did they arrive at becoming nouns now? Because they were formerly verbs by the addition of the suffix ee. Now let's move forward. Nouns of general action. Note: we'll soon do an activity. Let's continue. We can use a variety of suffix to describe an action in general. The most common of these are shun with the S, ance, meant, and ends. In these instances, we change the endings of the verb to take the suffix. Let me go again. We can use variety of suffix to describe an action in general. Now we're talking about general action. Depending on how they end, look at how we can now change them. Look at the suffix that we can now add. Example: our acceptance of his proposal was expected. Our acceptance of his proposal was expected. The verb accept becomes the noun acceptance. From the noun, you can infer what the verb was before. So the verb accept has been nominalized to become acceptance. The second example: in conclusion, we see a spike in profit soon. In conclusion, we see a spike in profit soon. The verb conclude becomes the noun conclusion. The verb conclude becomes the noun conclusion. How did we arrive at this? With the what? With the addition of the ION, the shun. With the addition of the ION, that's how we arrive. We now nominalize the verb conclude to become conclusion. Now, note, we ellipted the E that comes after the D and put what? And added the ION. We didn't include it. In fact, added the SION. Now, the third example. Attendance is at an all-time low. Attendance is at an all-time low. The verb attend becomes the noun attendance. From the noun attendance, we can infer that the verb there is attend. But because it is nominalized here, it becomes what? Attendance. I hope it is clear enough. And how did we arrive at the noun attendance? With the addition of the A and CE. The same way we formed acceptance. By adding ANCE, that suffix was added to the word, and we have acceptance, we have word like attendance. Now, some other suffix that work this way are R and O. That means AL and URE. For example, failure to find a solution is not an option. Failure to find a solution is not an option. The verb fail becomes the noun failure. How did you arrive at the noun failure? It can be broken down, and the littlest form is what? Fail, which happens to be a verb. How did we arrive at failure now? We what? Added the suffix URE, and it makes it a noun. The review will include a quick perusal of your work. That's the second example. The review will include a quick perusal of your work. The verb peruse becomes the noun perusal. How do they arrive at the noun perusal? With the addition of AL. Chidera, what's funny? You've been smiling all along. And you, Fatima, and Alexandra. Okay, if you have questions, put them in the chat box, okay? We have to finish this. And you have an activity coming up soon. It's not so far, so I hope you are paying attention and not just laughing away your time. Any question? We have an activity right now, a short quiz. Provide a noun form for the following verbs and use each of them in pairs. The instruction is there. Now, you don't need to write your question. You don't need to write the question. Just look at this word. Look at the example done for you. Speak. The word actually is speak. Now, but the speak is the verb form of speech. Speech is the noun form. Now, it has been used in two different sentences. You will use the first one, speak, as in a sentence. The speech was also used what? In a sentence. Meaning, you'll be given a word, for example, the word receive, which happens to be a verb. Receive happens to be a verb. You will now produce the noun form of it and use each of them in a sentence, each. Meaning you will use receive, which happens to be a verb, in a sentence correctly. You now produce the noun form, the nominalized form, in another sentence. You have just about 2 minutes for this, so we can move ahead. Chidera, you're not writing. Fatima, Alexandra, you're looking at me. You're supposed to be doing something. Not shining your teeth at the camera. Fatima, write. Alexandra, don't cover your face. It is for your own good for you to participate in this activity. That is, how else will you practice? I hope you understand the instruction given. You have 5 words in this exercise. 5 words. And each of them, they are all verbs. You have to nominalize them. First of all, you will produce the noun form of it. Then you will now use both the verb and the nouns in each sentence, in one sentence for each. Like the first one has been done for you, if you look at the screen. I give you 3 more minutes so we can complete this. I can see Amdalat working. Habib is just gazing at the screen. Habib Salami. Yes, Sirot Olabanji is just looking. Yes, Sirot, why are you not doing the activity? Habib, Shitu, hope you're carrying out this activity. Don't cover it. Don't cover it. I can still see you. It is in your interest to really participate. So you would have even evaluate yourself. You evaluate your own understanding. We should be getting done by now. Anifa, okay, you have a minute left. Actually, less than that. Aliyah, Brimo, Nabil Junaid, Ikem, Najiba. I hope you are done. Habiba, Khadija. All right, we have to continue. Now let's look at the answers to this exercise. Look at the answer. The first one, receive. That's the verb form. You will receive a parcel today. You can mark yourself to see how correct you are. Of course, it certainly may not be the same sentence, but at least it is used in the same format. Now, the noun form, receipt. That's the form. Here's the receipt of the purchase. The second one, sit. You can sit wherever you want. That's the verb form. Now, sit, as in like a sit. We offer someone a sit. That's the noun form. Number 3, die. We don't want him to die, do we? That's a verb form. Death, that's a noun form. Our death came as a surprise. Number 4, deceive. Please don't deceive me. Tell me the truth. Fatima, don't deceive me. The noun form, deception. The deception took a long time to uncover. Number 5, think. I will think it over this evening. The noun form, thoughts. As the heavens are above, so are my thoughts above all. I hope we got it all correct, at least or almost correct. Okay, let's move forward now. Now we will now go to the nominalization of adjectives. The nominalization of adjectives. We can change adjectives into nouns. We want to speak of them as general ideas or concepts. We change adjectives into nouns. We want to speak of them as general ideas or concepts. Adjectives can take a variety of different suffixes depending on how they are spelled. Let's take a look at some examples. We often use the suffix ness, that is N-E-S-S, for many adjectives. Most of the time, we can simply add a suffix onto the end of the adjective without making any changes to the spelling. For example, I don't care for the roughness of my hands. I don't care for the roughness of my hand. The adjective rough becomes the noun roughness. How did we arrive at the noun roughness? By adding the suffix ness. The second example, I don't think you understand the seriousness of this situation. I don't think you understand the seriousness of this situation. The adjective serious becomes the noun seriousness. The adjective serious becomes the noun seriousness. How? With the addition of the suffix ness, N-E-S-S. That is quite easy, I assume. Okay, now let's look at the addition of the suffix y. Other adjectives that end in a T preceded by a consonant will take the suffix y to become nouns. Let's give an example so you understand better. This project to be fraught with difficulty. This project to be fraught with difficulty. We are looking at the adjectives that end in T, that are preceded by a consonant. They will take the suffix y to become nouns. Examples are there on the screen for you. This project will be fraught with difficulty. The adjective difficult becomes the noun difficulty. Number 2 example, honesty is a very important virtue. Honesty is a very important virtue. The adjective honest becomes the noun honesty. The adjective honest becomes the noun honesty. How did we arrive at difficulty and honesty? The spelling don't change until the end. The end is what? T. But at the end of, after the T, what do we add? The Y. Your modesty is your greatest asset. Your modesty is your greatest asset. The adjective modest becomes the adjective modesty. In all of these examples, like we have said, so long the word end with a T and they are preceded by consonants, what do? We simply add the suffix y and we nominalize them, as simple as that. See how a verb can turn into a noun by just a simple addition of one letter or two, and we get a noun out of it. Now we go to the addition of ity, et. When adjectives end in e, they often take the suffix ity to become nouns. However, there is often a change in the spelling of the word. Usually, we simply drop the e and replace it with ity. As in, for example, look at the examples on the screen. There is a scarcity of food in the city. There is a scarcity of food in the city. The adjective scarce becomes the noun scarcity. The adjective scarce becomes the noun scarcity. Kindness is a rarity in this world. Kindness is a rarity in this world. The adjective rare becomes the noun rarity. Now, how do we arrive at the noun scarcity and rarity? Simple. The verb form of these words end with e. Now, we now remove the e and add ity. The last word of the word scarce is e. Sorry, the last letter ends with a e. We now ellipse the e. We remove the e, and in the place of the e, we put ity. Also, in the case of rare, the last letter in the word rare is e. And we'll ellipse the e and add ity, making it scarcity and rarity. Sunny, you're not looking at the screen. Now let's move ahead. When the word ends with ble, we have to change it to le or ill, as in, for example, look at the screen, please. This project is your responsibility. This project is your responsibility. The adjective responsible becomes the noun responsibility. What changed? What's changed? Responsible. Responsible usually end with BLE, isn't it? But we now ellipse the BLE and its place what? Actually, we ellipse the LE and in its place we add what? ITY. I have no question of your ability. I have no question of your ability. The adjective able becomes the noun ability. The adjective able becomes the noun ability. How did we arrive at that? The same way we arrived at responsibility. We ellipse the E and we add ITY. Now let's move ahead. We have another activity before us. Nominalize the following adjectives using suffixes below correctly. And I would really like us to all participate. Now, this is quite cheap if you look at it closely. Nominalize the following adjectives using the following suffixes correctly. What do we do here? You have been given a list of 7 adjectives. The first one is noisy, second is pure, third is holy, fourth is innocent, fifth is constant, sixth is fair, and the last one is warm. These are all adjectives. Now we are to turn them into nouns. That's what we mean by nominalize. Using these suffixes below, dom, iti, ne, si, ti, and fi. It's quite cheap if you put your mind to it. I'll give us 2 minutes for that before we continue. You don't need to write the question, just put down the answer in your notepad. Fatima, I assume you are done with your own. Okay, we should be almost done by now. Just change them using the suffixes above. Dom, ITY, NESS, CE, CY, TY, and TH. Now let's look at the correct answers. Noise becomes noise. Pure becomes purity. Holy becomes holiness. Innocent becomes innocence. Constant becomes constance. Fair becomes fairness. Warm becomes warmth. We can also put noisiness, also for noise. The adjective noisy becomes noise or noisiness. Pure becomes purity. Holy becomes holiness. Innocent becomes innocence. Constant becomes constance. Fair becomes fairness. Warm becomes warmth. Now let's continue. Now, what is conversion? When we use a verb or adjective as a noun without changing its spelling in any way, it is called conversion or zero derivation. Now, this is quite easy because I'm sure we do it. This is where stress come in. I think we treated stress in the last week before we went home. That is what is called conversion. When we use a word, a verb, or an adjective as a noun without changing the way it is spelled, nothing is changed, nothing is added or even removed. What is that called? Conversion or zero derivation. Let's look at examples. But there are some things that will be included, which I've said already. Let's continue. Conversion is usually common with verbs, and there are many instances where the same word may function as a noun and as a verb, depending on the context. For example, please answer the phone, Tom. Now, how is the word answer used here? Is it as a verb or as a noun? Let's read the second one, then it will be clearer. We will need an answer by tomorrow. We will need an answer by tomorrow. Obviously, in the first context, answer is used as a verb, while in the second one, it is used as what? As a noun. The second sentence, I run each morning before breakfast. I run each morning before breakfast. The second sentence now, I'm going for a run later today. In each of these sentences, the word run has been used, but in different ways. In the first one, the word run was used as a verb. I run each morning. While in the second one, the word run is used as a noun. Let's continue, please. There are instances in which instead of changing a word spelling, we change where we pronounce a stress on the word syllable to indicate a shift from a verb to a noun. What do we mean by this? This is very common. When we talk about stress, it is very, very easy to identify stress when it's just two syllable words, generally when it has to do with nouns and verbs. A noun is stressed where? On the first, while a verb is stressed on the second. Make sure you record these minutes, the minute meeting. Make sure you record the meeting's minutes. Now, in this case, the word record is used as a verb. Now, listen to the way it's going to be used in the second one. I love listening to old records. I love listening to old records. The stress is placed on the first syllable when it is used as a noun, but as a verb, it is placed on the second syllable. Let's go to the second example now. Please don't insult my intelligence. Please don't insult my intelligence. Now, let's go to the second one where the same word insult is used. We will not forget this insult to our company. We will not forget this insult to our company. What is the difference in the two sentences? You will notice in the two sentences, nothing is changed in the word insult. But the stress, the placement of stress. In the first one, which is used as a verb, the stress is placed on the second one. In the second one, where it is used as a noun, it is placed on the first syllable. Now, what are nominal adjectives? We can also convert adjectives into nouns without changing the spelling, but we generally do so by adding the THE, that's a there, before the word. These are known as nominal adjectives. This is quite easy. An example is on the screen before you. The wealthy have an obligation to help the poor. The wealthy have an obligation to help the poor. The wealthy is actually, the word wealthy is an adjective. The word poor is an adjective because they both describe nouns or pronouns. But here, because of the addition of the before the word, it now makes it what? A noun. That means it didn't change anything. All you just added was another word before it. And we have a noun phrase in short. The wealthy have an obligation to help the poor. Let's look at the second example. We all want the best for her. The best is what? Another adjective. But because the best is another adjective, but the placement of the before it, THE, makes it a noun. The law protects the innocent. The law protects the innocent. Now, these are what? Nominal adjectives. What makes this nominal adjective? Because of the addition of the word the. Now, quickly take down this quiz. I hope we understand what has been taught so far. We have defined the word nominalization. Take down this quiz as you listen, because our time is almost up. We have defined the word nominalization, that the meaning of the word nominalization refers to the process of turning a word from another grammatical class into a noun. We also define the term suffixation. It is a process of adding letter or groups of letters to the end of a word to make it another word. And we also understood what its conversion or zero derivation is. Please look at the second quiz. We are going to show the answers real soon. The first one is, which of the following is used to change the spelling of a verb or adjective that is made into a noun? Option A, prefix. Option B, suffixes. Option C, infixes. Option D, circumfixes. I hope you have taken this down. You don't need to write it down, please. Just put down your answer, A, B, C, or D. Quiz 2, What is the name for nominalization in which the spelling of the verb or adjective does not change? What is the name of nominalization in which the spelling of the verb or adjective does not change? We just did that a few minutes ago. A, inversion; B, conscript; C, conversion; D, elision. Now, quiz 3. Which of the following suffixes is commonly used to change a verb to a noun to reflect agency or profession? We did this. We had some examples also. Just put in your option. Quiz 3. Which of the following nominalized verbs in bold is a gerund? Which of these is a gerund? A, adherence to the rules is expected of all students. B, we weren't expecting a refusal of our offer. C, winning isn't everything, you know. D, we need to hire a few more employees. Take a look at these questions, at these options rather, and make your choice. 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, I'll be stopped soon. 5, 3, 2, 1. Now look at the answers if you had chosen any answer. The answer to question 1 is suffixes. That is what we add to verbs and adjectives to make them into nouns. Number 2 is conversion. The process in which the spelling of a verb or adjective does not change. It is what was called conversion. Number 3, it is of, A, option A. And number 4, winning isn't everything. The word there, which is a gerund, is the word winning. The word is win, and ing has been added to make it a gerund. Now, please look at your assignments, your homework or your home activity, in your free time. New Concept English Senior Book 2. Please, you can work on this later for your own practice. And I assure you, by the time you are done with this, there's no way you won't understand this topic. Page 87, exercise 5. Page 87, exercise 5. Provide the noun form for the following. Provide the noun forms for the following. You find a group of words numbered 1 to 5 in a box, verb and noun. You have to provide the noun forms. It's that easy.
Are you sure?
I'm done.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I hope you do this class. This is a homework activity. We see next time. Any question, please leave them in the chat box and don't leave anything useless. Put down important and meaningful questions for me to answer. Thank you very much and have a good day.